Now, I love this guy for his writing. I think he's one of the best writers in Scotland. A lot of the time, I also love him because he helps me understand how other people look at me. Because a lot of the time I read what he writes and I go, oh, I hate that. But and I understand now how people look at me. So for many, many reasons, please welcome Kevin McKenna. Come on up. You sit beside him. I've just realised, by the way, guys, that we're doing this very Glaswegian because in Dundee there's not really a sectarian divide, is there? No. I've never noticed it. And yet what we've done is we've got a Catholic couch and we've got a Protestant couch. So,
just be careful, Kevin. You get what they call the Fichi touch in Dundee over there from that.
Yeah, okay. So that's them. But Kevin, first of all, tell us who you are, for those who don't know.
I'm a journalist, been a journalist for about 35 years, I would say. I had a harder paper round, obviously, than our Jim here.
Yeah.
And I've lived all my years in Glasgow, born in the East End. Why did I go into journalism? Well, I spent a year studying to be a priest in a missionary order. So I could have ended up in, I think I was destined to go to the Brazilian jungles to try and make life even more complicated for very poor people whose lives were complicated enough.
Yeah.
But after a year, they said to me they thought I was in the wrong movie, and maybe I should be considering a non-religious life. I thought I was doing quite well, actually.
You did tell me the story through there, and tell me that story.
I'll keep it short.
Keep it short. Tell us that story.
I mean, this was like 80, 81, and this missionary order, which is like, it's quite a small. I don't even know why I ended up there. I mean, like they were like the kind of hippie wing of the Catholic Church, right? Yeah. And it was in Cowinning of all places, which, if you know the west of Scotland, Cowinning is like the kind of capital of the Orange Order and the Freemasonic Order. So the Lord alone knows why there's a Catholic seminary in Cowinning. He works in mysterious ways, his wonders to perform. So I met this bloke who wasn't from our school, who was a Protestant and was a member of the local Church of Scotland, and they had a prayer meeting every Wednesday, and this was during a kind of something called charismatic renewal that some of you might have heard about. There was a bit of a craze for this in the west of Scotland, and I went along, and I thought it was dynamite, and you know, it was a night away from a Catholic seminary for you're dressed up in all the black and white stuff, and there's women there, and the odd wee swally as well. And nobody was trying to convert me, to the Protestant faith. It was just good night. But unfortunately, a couple of local Catholic parents got to hear about this and thought it was a bad idea for a future Catholic priest to be in the hands of the Protestants at such an impressionable age. And my excuse when I was hauled up to explain myself that I was trying to convert them all didn't go down. So that was me papped out. Went to university. Kind of fell into university. Was the least academic student in the history of Glasgow University, but I had a great time nonetheless. And then became a journalist. Did a few weekly papers, mainly as a sub-editor, which are the intelligence behind the writers. They're the ones that catch all the writers' mistakes and make them look as if English isn't their second language. And it's only, and you'd be amazed how many journalists, like rock and roll journalists, just don't know the basics of spelling and grammar. And it's only actually in the last 10 years that I've been writing, because prior to that I was like mainly commissioning articles, and I worked for Her Majesty's Daily Mail. So all my lefty friends are like, you know, what in the Lord's name is going on there? But my best job was sports editor of The Scotsman and Scotland on Sunday.
Right.
For a few years in Edinburgh. So we had people like Graham Spears, Johnny Northcroft, who's from here. No, he's not, he's Aberdeen.
Yeah.
That's just up the road. A bit, innit?
You're a typical Glaswegian, aren't you? You know, he's up there somewhere, you know. Inverness, so that's close to Dundee.
Yeah, we'd great fun. So sport really is my background.
Did you know Spency then?
Oh, everybody, you know, Jim was a legend.
Yeah,
you know,
he still is.
In the living room, I was a legend.
Oh, you can't actually. That's one of the kind of sub-editors' Bibles. Yeah. You can't call somebody a legend who's still living.
Yeah, okay.
Legendary, right? Just in case any of you, right?
Yeah.
Legends
are dead,
right?
Okay.
So, so in the last 10 years, just went freelance. Left the Daily Mail because I'd got 25 years into journalism, and I thought most journalists who are still working full time in papers after 25 years, then wake up dead. Yeah. For various an assortment of reasons, not unassociated with the lifestyle favoured by journalists at that time.
Drink and everything else.
Yeah, and all that praying, getting up early for church.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
You're getting a wee bit confused.
And so then I thought I'm out of here.
Yeah,
and I was doing some PR, just messing about. And somebody asked me to write a column for them in the Observer because somebody had let them down, and I hadn't actually written anything for years, and I was more paranoid about letting this guy down than I was actually about writing the thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying to him, look, see if it's mince, we won't fall out. It's okay. You've got high standards. But within a few weeks, he was asking me to do quite a lot of stuff.
Great. Who do you write for now?
So there's the Observer, the Herald, the National, because I'm pro-independence. Yeah. But I'm not going to fall out with anybody about it. That's why I was looking forward to Murdo being here.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was looking forward to Murdo as well, because we three are on the same wing with it.
And I mainly write about politics. Basically, I mainly write for papers that few people read about subjects that nobody's really interested in, apart from him.
Except me.
So, like, politics. Occasionally they let me loose on sport, and occasionally, I suppose you get to a certain stage where you can say, look, I'll write all your politics and your arts and your civil stuff and your cultural stuff and global affairs. But occasionally you're going to have to allow me to indulge myself. Yeah. So occasionally they'll let me write about football, the Celtic, right? Occasionally, and occasionally they'll let me write about my faith. Yeah. Because I'm like, as typical West of Scotland Catholic, we get totally saddled with Catholic guilt. Yeah. And sometimes I've had this kind of nightmare. I thought, right, for 10 years, I've had basically the run of UK newspapers. I'm a very privileged position. I've got three columns written, read by different types of people, and I'm a Christian. Mm-hmm. And I had this and this is true, this recurrent nightmare that I've died and I'm going to heaven, and St. Peter said, so you're a Christian, you've had this audience, this captive audience. How many times did you write about, God, me, what we believe in? And I'm like, occasionally, the Celtic, does that? Nope, doesn't get it. And I thought, well, they're quite happy for me to, give politicians a kicking or praise SNP or independence, and basically, give vent to all my personal whims. Oh, a big personal whim of mine is my faith.
Yeah.
So they get it. I mean, to be fair to them, I mean, the Observer's pretty irreligious.
Yeah.
If you look at its coverage, it's, is it hostile to Christianity? Yeah, it probably is. Yeah. Hostile to Christianity these days because of what they think, Christians, committed Christians believe in. And especially Catholics, because they see Catholics as like, they're completely beyond the pale. The Herald's, the Herald has to watch it because of its demographic.
Yeah.
So that, it's probably a kind of tweedy wearing, sort of, with patches, church going, concern. I think I talked about it.
You did. I'm not going to let you away with this one, because you did talk about it. And I understand that with the Herald. But I mean, with all this, right? I've heard people like to put people in boxes, right? So I've heard you described as extreme left-wing nationalist, but then bizarrely uber alt-right socially conservative. It's like people can't figure you out.
Good.
So you get stuff that, he said this about the IRA 30 years ago, or he did this, or he did that, and then you come out with something defending the Catholic Church on abortion. Or I remember being in Glasgow being pretty depressed about something one time, and I was going to go and speak at a thing, and I picked up the Herald, which I don't normally get, and you had a piece in it, and you were actually defending me, and I was very grateful for it, so thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad it comes in handy sometimes.
Sometimes. No, but it was, because it was very encouraging to see you. And there were people who didn't understand what you doing defending him, and then, or even me talking to you. And then I'm thinking about, remember the time you came up, you wanted to do a piece, and you came into the service here, and you wrote this piece that started off typical Kevin McKenna. I didn't know that our St. Peter had pals called Tam, Andy, and whatever, because you'd heard the people talking about St. Pete's, and and when I read it, I thought, he's going to slag us off, and you didn't, and you wrote a very intriguing piece. What made you come up and do that story?
Well, I obviously didn't know you, but somebody had mentioned you to me, a Catholic priest, because you were beginning to, I suppose, and I hate the word modernise, but you were maybe beginning to open a few windows in the Free Church of Scotland, and maybe challenging a few attitudes without kicking over the traces of, the essential beliefs of the Free Church. And I liked the fact that you had challenged some of the kind of celebrity atheists, which have proliferated in British television in the last 20 years or so, Dawkins and others, and that you were also challenging a kind of an accepted viewpoint of the world that was abroad and was not being challenged, and which didn't consider Christianity, and which rejected Christianity, and in fact didn't just reject it, insulted it whenever it could, with the sort of terminology that if you used the same words against Jewish people, Muslims, Hindus, you'd be in the jail.
Yeah.
But somehow it's permitted. And I thought it was quite refreshing. And I also thought, I'd love to see that sort of leadership in the Catholic Church, because for various reasons, our church is a bit rudderless at the moment. And I mentioned to Andy Harris, who's the editor of the Scottish Daily Mail, who was an old colleague of mine, I said, I'd like to go up and have a chat with this lad and see what's happening. And he said, yeah. But he said, you'll write it and such. He said, it's not promising material, the moderator of the Free Church of Scotland in Dundee, to fill a 2-page spread in the Daily Mail on a Saturday alongside all the celebrity showbiz stuff. So, it has to be bang on the money. Yeah. So I was conscious while I was writing it that, because I liked what I saw here, I loved, the the service. I loved the fact that it was vibrant. There was young people coming in. And I think I was saying to somebody before we get in here that I think I stopped counting about 300.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, you had good things to say that Scotland needed to hear. So the pressure that I put myself under to make that fit enough to be in a very secular newspaper was tremendous, and I got a really good reaction.
Yeah.
But I also got a funny reaction.
Yeah. Tell us about the funny reaction.
So, you know, I mean, although I'm pro-independence, sometimes the SNP just drives me around a twist, you know, dearie me. And occasionally, and I mean, I know we shouldn't sow division, you know, but occasionally it's good to wind them up, you know.
Yeah.
And so some of them, because they do pigeonhole you, you know, everybody pigeonholes people.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit of a curmudgeon.
Yeah.
And, you know, nobody likes to be pigeonholed. So occasionally it's good to challenge what people think what they know about you or they think they know about you. So I was getting texts saying, Daily Mail, Free Church of Scotland, this guy's anti-gay and he's anti-women. And I'm saying, how? Well, where? And of course it's this modern zeitgeist that simply to have a position on something isn't allowed anymore. Like to have a traditional Christian position, a thoughtful Christian position on certain so-called moral or ethical issues. Up until 10, 15 years ago, you could expect to be criticised for it, and people will debate with you, but they will not, you know, they wouldn't be against you, they wouldn't deny you your right to have that opinion and to debate it. But now to have the opinion means that, you know, you get banned from university campuses, you don't get on the BBC, you get called sexist, you get called a homophobic bigot. You're basically getting accused of things that can actually land you in a jail and which are quite serious. And you say, well, look, you know, just to say that you have an issue with same-sex marriage, that's not a crime. No. That doesn't mean you say you're discriminatory against gay people. Yeah. I know gay people who are not happy with same-sex marriage. They were quite happy with civil partnerships. Yeah. But I won't get into that. So it was good writing that to have the satisfaction, and I know it's tribal and perverse, but it's still good fun of getting it right up the right people, right? and ruining their breakfast on a Sunday.
Well, listen, you made my breakfast anyway. Kevin, I'm going to come back to you as well, but please thank him just now. This is totally unscripted, and I haven't warned you in advance. So this may be a wee bit personal. No. He's looking at me.
Just don't tell me the result in the Champions League final.
No. By the way, for the Champions League, there are people who have got this videoed, so please don't. When Andy Murray won at Wimbledon, and he won just in time for me to come into our evening service, I kind of announced it to the congregation. This woman said, I'm never going to speak to you again, because I put it on tape because I didn't think it'd be finished in time. But no, we're not going to do the Champions League. After we met and, you know, talked about things and different things, I heard from you again, but it was a I don't know if you remember this, was a text from Sydney where we're going, and you said on the text, now it gets serious, I'm in hospital, because you'd had an incident on the plane and so on. It was quite serious. Remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? And I wrote back to you and said, is it okay if we pray for you? And being a good Catholic, you said, go for it, many times. You know, when you have, I mean, I ended up in a coma in 9 Wells and stuff, and when you have an encounter that reminds you of death, does that play on your mind? Do you ever think about that?
Oh, aye.
Yeah.
Aye. Yeah. I mean, in the west of Scotland, in Glasgow, I mean, I know Scotland generally, we're quite dark. Yeah, yeah. You know, death's never far away. Yeah. In song, poetry, the arts.
Yeah.
It's never far away from conversation, and I think in Scotland we kind of learn to come to quite an early accommodation with it.
Yeah.
And part of that is because of poverty as well.
Yeah.
You know. But in Glasgow even more so.
Yeah.
But so I won't bore you, but basically in 2015 my daughter was in Australia. She'd gone out with her boyfriend after graduating. They were going to tour for 6 months, try and get some kind of wee job. The two of them fell out. I wasn't unhappy with that, I have to say, right? And so she's feeling a bit sorry for herself. She's in Australia, she's quite young. I'm on my own, I didn't have any holidays booked. I said, look, I'll come out. Just drop her a hat, no bother. And so in the second leg, she's in Melbourne. So the second leg of the trip was the longest, which was Abu Dhabi to Perth before then doing Perth to... And I'm beginning to feeling a bit queasy, just not quite right, heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
I think, right, okay, never been in hospital in a puff. When I landed at the airport, sick, couple of Benson Hedges, large Bacardi, we'll all be sorted.
Yeah.
And by the time I got to Melbourne, my daughter said, you know, you look like death. I couldn't put one foot in front of the other. Yeah. And I'm still in total denial.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
still thinking,
Yeah.
just a wee bit of anxiety, a wee bit of that deep vein thrombosis stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I'll be fine after I sleep. And the next morning she said, right, hospital. And within about 10 minutes said, you've had a heart attack. How did you not know? And I'm saying, well, how are you meant to know? I've never had a heart attack.
Yeah.
It wasn't I'm still here. Like,
Yeah, you've got my medical knowledge, so yeah.
People with heart attacks usually die. I'm still here, so, you know. And I'm going, dear, oh dear.
Yeah.
What? 50?
Yeah.
49? What age was I? 49? 50? 51, all right, okay. Right. I'm all right. I wasn't exactly, you know, the healthy specimen, but I wasn't doing much wrong, you know. I'd never been in the hospital.
Yeah.
And then, of course, yeah, you know, it really does, you begin to wonder.
Yeah.
You do inspect your life.
Yeah.
You, like, you know, you do. I mean, I remember, like, the night before I went into hospital when I'm realising I really should have gone that night.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling pain, and I think, I'm on the way out here.
Yeah.
So it's the Hail Marys, right? Dozens. Glory Bees, Our Fathers, you know, every prayer that I could remember from a Catholic childhood, which is many, because the propaganda gets, you know, thrown into you from the age of 5 to the age of 12. You know, you're hundreds of prayers, all types, all saints. Every saint has a dozen prayers, and they were all getting said, because I'm thinking, I'm not waking up here, and I've got a lot I've got a few things I'm going to be asking God to take into consideration.
Yeah.
And there's no confessional nearby. Not, of course, you know, I know there's nothing that separates us from God. You know, fine. This is what I quite like about the Protestant faith. You know.
Yeah, I was going to say we can make death a whole lot easier for you. You know, we can replace the Catholic guilt with the Calvinist guilt. But I mean, on a kind of serious level with that, I just simply say you can go straight to the top. I mean, you can ask Jesus, and you know, I mean, when I was in a similar situation, and that's what we were doing. I mean, we don't have a whole bunch of set prayers, but when my family came into ICU, we had the Psalms that these guys were singing, and they were reading them as prayers, because they are prayers to me, and it really goes for you.